Guys, welcome back to Defi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty. Where on this channel, our vision is to empower the impoverished by helping you find financial freedom through crypto assets. Please subscribe and leave a comment and a thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back to Defi, degens, drip, and farm for poverty. So today we're going to be covering a little investing terms, I guess you could say, and kind of the macro outlook on how things are shaping up and why. Very bullish on the Forex Shark ecosystem and what he's developing. So for this video, I'm going to actually play a clip from Anthony Pompliano. He runs a podcast and a YouTube channel, and he brings on some really smart people in the financial sector and the macroeconomic sector. He's an investor himself. Former Army veteran. His brothers help him run the podcast, but basically keeps things kind of unbiased and neutral, but shares a lot of really good information. And this 3.5 minute clip, almost 4 minute clip, is a great starter for this discussion we're going to get into. So to help you understand, if you aren't familiar with inflation and what it's doing to the macro sector, and even if you're not in the US, inflation is hitting everywhere. I'm going to show you a chart from that coming up quickly, and then I'll let you know how that actually shapes up in regards to the animal farm and of course drip, because that's the most important. So let's get into this clip first.
A new 40-year high. The official number for the month of June is 9.1%, according to the CPI. This is absolutely insane in one of the most developed and one of the largest economies in the world. Now, if we take a look as to what is driving this 9.1% inflation number, you can see that there's a whole bunch of chaos underneath it. First, fuel oil is up almost 100% over the last 12 months. Gasoline is up 60%. Electricity is up 13.7%. New cars are up 11.4%. Transportation up 8.8%. Used cars up 7%. And shelter allegedly is only up 5.6%. But the number that jumps out to me here is none of those. It's instead the cost of eating food at home has increased more than 12% over the last year. That is completely unsustainable for the average American family. Now, one of the things that the inflation numbers tend to hide is that real wage growth is not growing. It's going down, meaning that most people in the American economy are actually getting paid less money today than they were a year or 2 years ago. Here's a great way to look at it. We've got this chart that shows all of the U.S. wage growth since the start of the borrowing and printing binge has been a mirage, up 12.3% in nominal terms, but it's actually negative 1.5% after adjusting for higher prices. As Charlie points out, initially everyone loves free money. It's only with the passage of time that the ravages of inflation are revealed. Another way to think about this is that you may be getting paid more dollars, but those dollars are worth less in purchasing power terms. It means that you're not getting a raise fast enough to keep up with the rising prices, so you're actually in a worse position. Now, the loose monetary policy and the undisciplined fiscal policy that the United States has pursued for the last 2 years, we mitigated the short-term pain caused by COVID and the government lockdowns and all of that liquidity crisis in March and April of 2020. But it was at the cost of the long-term pain of high inflation, and we now sit with a 40-year high. But there's a word of caution. There's a lot of people who will start to say that inflation is coming down, but they don't actually understand math. If you look at this chart from Heather Long, what you can see is that plenty of people will point to this pink line, which shows core inflation that does not include food and energy. And they'll say, look, it's starting to come down. But the problem is, as Heather points out, gas, energy, groceries, and rent are all rising sharply. And so you can manipulate data to have that pink line come down. But the blue line that includes everything, including energy and food, which is a staple purchase for every American family, we continue to see inflation rising. Now, of course, when you have math, anyone can manipulate the numbers to say whatever they want. But if you go to the grocery store, if you go out to eat, if you try to purchase goods and services in the economy, what you can tell is that prices are much higher than they've previously been. And wages are not keeping up, pushing people into further and further dire situations. At the end of the day, 9.1% inflation in the official reading is likely inaccurate. But If we go ahead and we give them the benefit of the doubt and we say that inflation actually is 9.1%, that's almost double digits. And in a developed country like the United States of America, which serves as one of the largest economies in the world, that is absolutely disastrous. And so either they're going to have to get this under control or people will continue to suffer. And unfortunately, most Americans have no clue what to do with inflation this high.
So yeah, he's talking about inflation. So hopefully that gives you a great idea of it and what's happening. If you're still not familiar, easiest way to describe it is basically that cost of goods and services go up while your wages can stay the same. Essentially, here's a great picture of what you could have bought with $5 back then. You could have got like a triple cheeseburger, and now you only get a single. And who knows, maybe only the bread coming very shortly. And the reason I bring this up is because it's affecting everyone and everywhere. This chart shows the global inflation all over the world. So you got some countries with triple digit inflation, some with double digit. And like he said, in the US, it's like, great, it's only 9%, but that's 9% so far. And they don't really have a way to stop this. And that's what happens when you get into hyperinflation and economies kind of explode upon themselves. And then it's ridiculous. That's not going to happen in these developed countries, but it's not looking good. And the reason I want to bring this up is because that's where Drip and Animal Farm can actually help, so to speak. Because if you don't recall or you're not in either of these, let's connect this real quick. Drip, first of all, is technically a by design deflationary asset, but it can mint tokens. So as of right now, it is inflationary, but not inflationary at the same exact rate of what's happening currently with the US dollar. So even though this is inflationary, you're also getting paid that 1% per day. So at the end of the year, if you were to compound, you're actually making 3,600%. So that will stave off any of this inflation that you see. So remember, in the US, it's 9%. We're going to round it up to 10. That means what used to cost you $100 now will cost you $110. That's a simple way of looking at it. But if you're in Drip, then you'll have, from the $100, you can have 3,600. Start, something like that. 3.65x return on that. If you do the compound interest, it's actually more than that. Alternatively, you also have the Animal Farm. So this is a really great place, once this is live, to actually stake your your stable coins. So you're trying to stave off inflation. So what you can do in these pools is actually, farms, is actually put, say you have USDT and BUSD. So these are two stable coins that are extremely stable. If you want the super stable, is that one in here? He doesn't have USDC and BUSD. That would be really cool. Yeah, he does, right here. So USDC is the one that's backed by Circle, and they have a 1-to-1 with the US dollar in their reserves. And BUSD is by Binance. I don't remember what they said theirs is on, but these have held up really, really well. I don't think this is going anywhere either, but just saying. So if you have your money in here, you'll be able to earn on this. You'll be earning dogs, I believe, right? Doesn't say, but I think you're earning dogs. Yeah. And then what you'll be able to do is whatever the percentage is that you're earning for these dogs, it will definitely be more than 10% per year. Just like cake on PancakeSwap can be like 35% or 60%, 80%. They have different pools. You can earn a lot of cake. And the cool thing about that is, remember, this is an asset that you can indeed sell. So you will have your inflationary hedge, because you basically have a 1-to-1 to the US dollar, which currently has a 9% inflation rate. And if this is I know this will be paying out more than 9% per year in the native token, you will keep this asset. Remember, you're not selling this. You will still have this. So if you put $1,000 in here, at the end of the year, it's still going to be $1,000. And that's it, 1-to-1. You'll be able to exchange it out for US dollars for 1,000. But over that time, let's just say for simplicity purposes, you've earned 100 dogs in the course of a year, and those dogs are worth $50 a piece. you can sell those dogs. And yes, you're going to incur taxes, but you just generated money that will definitely be higher hedge against this inflation that's printing in all these other countries and 10% in the US. So this gives you a way to still have your liquidity basically and earn yield on it, and then only sell the yield or the token in this case for using in your fiat or whatever the case may be. So you'll be able to maintain, think of this as a savings account with that can out hedge the 9% inflation. If you take this $1,000 and put in your fiat bank account, you're losing. We're rounding it up to 10%. So you have $1,000 in there, and at the end of the year, you have now 900 equivalent purchasing power. It'll still say 1,000, but you'll be purchasing $900 worth of goods and services. So alternatively, you can put it in here and earn yield on it, and that yield will be in dogs token, and that dogs token you can then turn around and sell. So this is a great place for people to kind of hedge their bets against inflation. Inflation is hitting everywhere. There's nothing you can do about it. The supply chain was interrupted from COVID. So as things come back online and as the U.S. tries to dig itself out of this hole it put itself in, remember it's the global reserve currency. So it affects everyone everywhere. And for the first time in history, not in history, but in a long time, even the euro now is trading below the dollar. So the dollar is getting stronger against other currencies. And other currencies are getting weaker against it, and yet we still have 9 to 10% inflation. Like he mentioned, it's 12% higher to purchase food to live on. So you were going to buy $100 worth of food before, and that now only buys you $88 worth in the U.S. So just some food for thought that you can use both of these as a way to kind of hedge your bet against inflation, no matter what country you're in. And you can use DRIP as more of a I guess higher risk, if you will, because remember you're putting it in here and it's locked up. So if you put the $1,000 in here, you can't get that back out immediately. You put the $1,000 in here, you're going to hit it with the 6% tax, I believe. There's 6% tax, so that $1,000 now becomes about $950 or something like that. But you'll be getting your dog token. So there's tax when you come into it, for sure. But if you're willing to at least let it sit there a couple months, it will offset itself in the farming native token, the dog token, so you can sell it later and actually make that 6% tax up. And if you were staked in the pig pen, then you actually would have a percentage of that 6% coming to you in the pig pen. But the main point I'm getting at with this is what Anthony Pompano was talking about regarding inflation. So you would want, in my opinion, not financial advice, of course, you would want to actually put something in the stable coin pools, because this is literally US dollars. So that would be your best bet, because the whole talk was about inflation and having your money basically in savings and how inflation is going to erode that. So the equivalent play would be using this as a savings account. Any of these are all stable coins. DAI BUSD, TUSD, BUSD, USDT, BUSD. So you can pick any one of these. So not financial advice, of course, but just a great way to start looking at this long-term play that Forex has created in the ecosystem and how you can utilize it for your long-term financial future. So that's all I got to say. Until next time, guys, lift daily and achieve your impossible. See ya.